Amidst growing fears, Israel and the Iranian-backed group Hezbollah are spiraling towards war. The Israeli military says it has launched a rare strike on the Lebanese capital, and you can see smoke over the Beirut skyline just over an hour ago. Now, extensive damage and chaos in the streets afterwards. It's the latest of hundreds of strikes between the two sides over the past 24 hours. Reports say the strike targeted a top Hezbollah official, pushing the region further on edge. Hezbollah's leader is vowing to respond after the attacks on pages and walkie-talkies belonging to his group. What you're seeing right now is the aftermath of that IDF strike in southern Beirut, and we're bringing you an update. Ben, I want to come to you. How much of a blow is this for Hezbollah? Ibrahim Aqil was the target.
If he was indeed killed in this strike, and we haven't confirmed that yet, it's yet another blow. You take the 30th of July killing of Fuad Shukr, the actual the most senior military official in Hezbollah, and then the pager blasts and the walkie-talkie blasts, and now this. This is just one real body blow after another, and three serious ones in just 1 week. Hezbollah is an organization, and I know it well going back to the early 1990s. It's an organization that has very tight security. They're not into publicity. Their leaders don't sort of willy-nilly give interviews. Access to Hezbollah is very controlled, and it's an organization that depends very much upon personal relations between its members. So they're very careful about any suspicious individuals becoming involved, and basically their entire security being compromised. But what we can see now is it's clearly been massively compromised. The fact that, and yet again, we don't know if Ibrahim Aqil was actually killed, but the fact that in the middle of the day, at just the middle of the afternoon, that an Israeli plane can come and fire 2 missiles onto a building and hit its target is quite phenomenal. And it really represents for Hezbollah a profound crisis, a crisis of confidence that it isn't as strong and capable as it was thought to be. And there's an important thing to keep in mind. Hezbollah began firing on Israel on the 8th of October last year, and it made it clear every time it reports a strike on Israel, it's always within the context of supporting the people of Gaza in their war against Israel, that this is a support front. This is not the front in the war. Clearly, Israel has decided that it's going to now focus on Lebanon, on Hezbollah, and try perhaps to destroy it. But Hezbollah is the jewel in the crown of the so-called axis of resistance led by Iran. It's always been its insurance policy against Israel or the United States attacking Iran, in which case they could unleash Hezbollah on Israel. But now that Hezbollah is clearly in the crosshairs of the Israelis, that insurance policy is suddenly in doubt. So we're not just talking about Lebanon and Israel, or Hezbollah and Israel. There's a geopolitical angle here that means that when Israel really goes after the very heart of Hezbollah, in the heart of the Lebanese capital, it is challenging not just Hezbollah, it is challenging Iran as well. Eleni?
Brilliantly put, Ben. It's such important context as we've seen deadly week for Hezbollah, and importantly after the messaging from Hassan Nasrallah yesterday saying that Hezbollah's structure is still very much intact, and we see this kind of strike in southern Lebanon. We know the target. We don't have more details about whether Ibrahim Aqil has been killed, but important week and whether this is a precipice and a prelude to something wider. Ben Wiedemann, we're going to catch up with you soon. You're currently updating us on the latest coming through in Beirut. Southern Beirut was the target. I want to now shift to Maher Yaher, who is the head of the Carnegie Middle East Center, joining us now from Beirut. Yeah, great to have you with us. Thank you so much for taking the time. From your perspective, what are you hearing right now? We're seeing some of the aftermath of this targeted strike by the IDF. We're hearing a little bit about the injuries and death toll right now as the news evolves.
Hi, thank you for having me. What we're hearing is that there are quite a few children among those injured and killed. The images that are coming out are quite shocking. It's again, I mean, it's half a residential building that seems to have been taken out, and there's significant damage in the neighborhood. We've heard about who is targeted, but apparently it's not just Brahim Aqil, but that there was some meeting for military between Palestinian and Hezbollah, Palestinian factions and Hezbollah leadership. So we're not sure who else was in that room with Brahim Aqil, if indeed he was there and if indeed he has been killed.
Yeah, we're still waiting to get more information on that. But what we do know is just the chaos and the panic on the ground and the aftermath of this. This comes after days of just incredible, tensions rising, frankly, from what we saw on Tuesday. Last night being one of the heaviest days of strikes towards Lebanon and, of course, Hezbollah responding as well. Give me a sense of what this could ultimately mean in terms of being on the precipice of a full-out war.
The Lebanese are reeling. I mean, we haven't even processed the pager attack. Thousands of pagers exploding in people's faces a few days ago, plus everything you've described since then. So there's a sense of shock, there's a sense of inability to process, and there's a lot of concern that Hezbollah is really being pushed to a point, even though they may be disoriented because of the disruption in their communication, internal communication, they still obviously retain the capacity to respond. And there's increasing concern that they're really being pushed into a position where they have no option but to respond in some way or the other. That response, should it be living up to the initial equation of you hit Beirut, we hit Tel Aviv, if they do something like this will then immediately flare into a much bigger conflict than we've seen so far. And it will wreak death and destruction, certainly on Lebanon, but also on Israel. The Israeli government is gambling now, and they see it as an opportunity to continue pushing the envelope and pushing Hezbollah to see how far they can go. They've certainly caused a lot of damage over the past year, but I think particularly over the last 3 or 4 days.
So what's your take? I mean, this is really important to kind of understand, as Israel is saying that, heading into a new era of war. We know Hezbollah has ultimately basically said that it doesn't want to get dragged into a war. We've seen the skirmishes between, Israel as well as Hezbollah on the southern border of Lebanon. Does it seem to you that Israel wants to get into a full-out war? As Ben Wiedemann said, this isn't just a Lebanese issue. This is a geopolitical angle that's playing out, that Israel looks like it's challenging Iran directly.
It is challenging Iran directly. I think Israel is counting on the fact that for the past year, neither Iran nor Hezbollah have wanted to get into an all-out conflict. From Iran's perspective, it has no need to get into an all-out conflict and have assets it's spent the last 4 decades building up completely destroyed, and a conflict it really cannot win in. But if we're getting to the point where what we're seeing now is a war of attrition, where Hezbollah's capacities are being systematically degraded, its top leadership is being taken out, it's lost upwards of 450 members between commanders and foot soldiers, along with increasing pressure within Lebanon because of the displacement, the exhaustion, etc., then the equation might flip. And we don't know what that flip will be. It may not necessarily mean that Iran will immediately get involved in the conflict. However, also, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the possibility of a ground invasion by Israel. What Israel has shown over the past few days, it actually does not need to do a ground invasion. and that, it can continue with this war of attrition. If we're going to look at the conflict from a 20th century perspective, it's two armies hitting each other. It's place specific. In this context, what we're looking at is, yes, there are bombings going back and forth, but we're not looking at kind of the kind of comeback that we've seen in Gaza, for example. We're looking at a very sophisticated, multi-hybrid kind of warfare, the kinds of which we have not seen before, at least in this particular context.